I'm thrilled of telling you the story behind the story of Who Moved My Cheese because it means the audio program is complete and available for us to listen to, enjoy, and share with others. This is something I want to see happen to never Never since I first heard Spencer Johnson tell us great cheese story years ago before we wrote a book, The Wrongler the Manager together. I remember thinking then how good the story was and how helpful it would be to be from that moment on. Who Moved My Cheese is a story about change that takes place in the maze where four amusing characters look for cheese. Cheese being a metaphor for what you have in life, whether it's job, a relationship, money, a big house, freedom, health, recognition, spiritual peace, or even activity like jogging or a golf. Each of us has our own idea of what cheese is. We pursue it because we believe it makes it happy. If you get it, you often become attached to it, and if you lose it or it's taken away, it can be traumatic. The maze in the story represents where you spend time looking for what you want. It can be the organization you work in, the community living, or the relationship living or relationship you have in your life. I tell the cheese story that you're about to listen to in my talks around the world, and often learn later for people about what a difference it has made to them. Believe it or not, this series story has been credited with saving careers, marriages, and lives. One of the many real-life examples comes from Charlie John. One of the many real-life examples comes from Charles. One of the many real-life examples comes from Charlie Jones, a well-respected broadcaster for NBC TV, who revealed that hearing the story of Who Moved My Cheese saved his career. His job as a broadcaster is unique, but the principle he learned can be used by anyone. Here's what happened. Charlie worked hard and did a great job of broadcasting track and field events and early Olympic Games. So he was surprised to upset when his boss told them he'd been removed from the showcase events for the next Olympics and assigned to swimming and diving. Not knowing these sports as well, he was frustrated. He felt unappreciated and he became angry. He said he felt it wasn't fair. His anger began to affect everything he did. Then he heard the story of Who Moved My Cheese. After that, he said he laughed to himself. After that, he said he laughed at himself. He changes his attitude. He realized his boss had just moved his cheese, so he adapted. He learned 2 new sports, and in the process found doing something new made him feel young. It wasn't long before his boss recognized his rude attitude and energy, and he soon got better assignments. He went on to enjoy more success than ever. and soon get better assignment. He went on enjoying more success than ever. He was later inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame broadcast alley. That's just one of the many real-life stories I've heard about the impact this story had on people, from their work life to their love life. I'm such a strong believer in the power of Who Moved My Cheese that I gave a copy of early pre-publication edition to everyone, more than 200 people working with our company. Why? Because I like every company that wants not only survive in the future, but stay competitive. But they future but stay competitive. Their company constantly change. They keep moving our cheese. While the parent domain wanted a loyal employee, today we need flexible people who are not possessive about the way things are done around here. And yet it's known, believing in a constant white model, which change occurring all the time at work and in life, can be stressful unless people have a way looking for change that helps them understanding. Answer the cheese story. When I told people about the story and then he gave them a hard copy, you could almost feel illicit negative energy beginning to occur. Person after person from every apartment went out of the way to thank me, but told me how helpful whom my cheese had been to them already in seeing the change going on in the company in a different light. Believe me, this brief parable takes only a little time to listen to, but its impact can be profound. As you listen, you will see section in this program. In the first thank gathering, former classmates talked at the class union about trying to deal with the change happening in their lives. The second section is the story of the Who Moved My Tree, the core of the program. In the third section, a discussion. People discuss what the story meant to them and how they are going to use their work and their lives. Some listeners to the program prefer to stop at the end of the story without listening further and interrupt the meeting for the same. Interpret in the meaningful self. Others enjoy listening to the discussion follow because it stimulates thinking about how they might apply with the learn to the learn situation. In any case, I hope each time you listen to Whom My Tree, you'll find something new and useful in it, as I do. And that it will help you deal with change and bring you success, whatever you decide success is for you. I hope you enjoy what you discover, and I wish you well. Remember, move with the cheese. A gathering, Chicago. One sunny Sunday in Chicago, several former classmates who were good friends gathered for lunch. Several former classmates for a good friend in school gathered for lunch, having attended the high school reunion the night before. They wanted to hear more what was happening in each other's lives. After a good deal of kidding and a good meal, they settled into the interesting conversation. Angela, who had been one of the popular people in the class, said, Life sure turned out differently than I thought when you went to school. A lot has changed. It certainly had, Nathan echoed. They knew he had gone into his family's business, which did operate pretty much the same and had been a part of the local community for as long as they could remember. So they were supplying When he seemed concerned, he asked, "But have you noticed how we don't want to change when things change?" Carlos said, I guess we resist changing because we are afraid of change. Carlos, you were captain of the football team, Jessica said. I never thought I'd heard you saying anything about being afraid. All laughter realized all they had gone off different direction. Carlos, I never thought I'd have to hear anything about being afraid. They all laughed as they realized although they took off in different directions, from working at home to managing company, they were experiencing similar feelings. Everyone was trying to cope with expected changes that were happening to them in recent years. And most admitted that they did not know a good way to handle them. Then Michael said, I used to be afraid of change. When a big change came along in our business, we didn't know what to do. So we didn't do just. We almost lost it. That is, he continued, until I heard a funny story of change everything. How so? Nathan asked. Well, the story changed the way I looked at change. From losing something to gaining something, and we showed how to do it. After that, things quickly improved at work and my life. At first, I was not if obvious simplicity story because it sounded like something we might have been told in school. Then I realized in annoying myself for not seeing obvious, doing what works when things change. When I realized the four character story represented very part of myself, I decided I wanted to act like and I changed. Later, I passed over into some people or company. They passed on others in super business much better because my adaptation changed better. Unlike me, many people said it helped them in the personal life. However, there were few people who said nothing out of it. They either knew the lesson out of living them, or more commonly, they felt already knew everything and didn't want to learn. They couldn't see why someone may want better things from it. When one was seeing executive who is having difficulty adapting, said story waste of time. Other people killed himself, named new character he was in the story, meaning the one who learned nothing new and did not change. What's this story? Angela asked. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? The girl laughed. I think I like it already, Carol said. Would you tell a story? Maybe we can get something from it. Sure, Michael replied. I'd be happy to. It doesn't take long. And so he began. Once, long ago, in a land far away, there lived four little characters who ran through a maze looking for cheese to nourish them and make them happy. Two were mice named Snip and Scurry, and two were little people, beings who were as small as mice, but who looked and acted a lot like people today. Their names were Hem and Hoa. Due to their small size, it would be easy not to notice what the four of them were doing, but if you looked closely enough, you could discover the most amazing things. Every day, the mice and the little people spent time in the maze looking for their own special cheese. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, possessing only simple rotten brain but good instinct, searched for the hard nibbling cheese they lacked, as mice often do. The two little people, Ham and Hoa, used their brain, filled with many beliefs. To search for the very different kind of cheese with a capital C, which they believed would make them feel happy and successful. As different as mine and little people were, they shared something common. Every morning, they each put on their jogging suit and running shoes, left their little home, and raced out into the main, looking for their favorite cheese. The main were some labyrinths with corridor chamber, some containing delicious cheese, but there were also dark corners and blind alleys leading nowhere. It was an easy place for anyone to get lost. However, the lost found their way. The maze held secrets the played to enjoy better life. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, used the simple trial-error method finding cheese. They ran down one corridor, and if it proved it empty, they turned around another, down to another. They remembered the corridor of cheese and quickly went to the new areas. Sniff, which smelled out the general direction of cheese using its brief nose, and Scurry would raise their head. They got lost, as you might expect, went off in the wrong direction and often bumped the wall. However, the two little people, Ham and Hoa, had very complex brains with beliefs and emotions that made life in the maze more complicated and challenging. They relied on more sophisticated methods to find cheese, depending on the ability think and learn from their past experience, over their ability was sometimes clouded by the way they looked at things. Eventually, in their own way, always discover what they're looking for. They each found their own kind of cheese one day at the end of one of the corridors in Cheese Station C. Every morning after that, the mice and the little people dressed in learning gear and head to Cheese Station C. It wasn't too long before they each established their own routine. Snip and Scurry continued to wake early every day and rest the main, always following the same route. When they arrived at the destination, the mice took off their running shoes, tied them together, and hung them around their neck, so they could get them quickly and knitted them again, then enjoy the cheese. In the beginning, Ham and Hoa also raced toward Cheese Station C every morning to enjoy the tasty new morsel with them. But after a while, a different routine set in for the little people. Ham and Hoa awoke each day a little later, dressed a little slower, and walked to Cheese Station C. After all, they knew where the cheese was and how to get there. They had no idea where the cheese came from, or who put it there. They just assumed it would be there. As soon as Ham and Hoa arrived at Cheese Station C each morning, they settled down and made themselves a home. They hung up their jogging suit, put away their running shoes, and put on their slippers. They were become very comfortable now that they found the cheese. "This is great," Ham said. "There's enough cheese here to last forever." The real people felt happy and successful and thought they wouldn't are secure. It wasn't long before Ham and Hoa regarded the cheese they found at Cheese Station C as their cheese. It was such a large store of cheese that they eventually moved their home to be closer to it and built a social life around it. To make themselves feel more home, Ham and Hoa decorated the wall with saying and even drew pictures of cheese around them, which made them smile. One read, "Having cheese makes you happy." Sometimes Ham and Hoa would take their friends by to see their pile of cheese, Cheese Station C, and pointed with pride, saying, "Pretty nice cheese, huh?" Sometimes they shared with their friends, and sometimes they didn't. "We deserve this cheese," Ham said. "We certainly had to walk along hard enough to find it." He picked up the nice fresh piece and ate it. Afterward, Ham fell asleep as he often did. Every night, the little people would run home, throw cheese, and every morning it will confidently return for more. This went on for quite some time. After a while, Ham and Hoa's confidence grew into arrogance and success. Soon they became so comfortable they didn't even notice what was happening. As time went on, Snip and Scurry continued their routine. They arrived there early each morning and sniffed and scratched and scurried around Cheese Station C, inspecting the area to see if there had been any changes from the day before. Then they whisked down nibble on the cheese. One morning they arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered there was no cheese. They were surprised, since Sniff and Scurry had noticed the surprise to cheese being getting smaller and every day. They were prepared for inevitable and knew instinctively what to do. They looked at each other, who moved running shoes they had tied together, hung conveniently around the neck, put them on their feet, and laced them up. The mice did not overanalyze. To the mind, the problem and the answer were both simple. The situation at the Cheese Station C had changed, so Sniff and Scurry decided to change. They both looked at in domains. Then Sniff did for his nose, Sniff, and nodded at Scurry, who took off running in domain, where Sniff followed as fast as he could. They were quickly off in search of the new cheese. Later that same day, Ham and Hoa arrived at Cheese Station C. They had not been paying attention to the small changes that had been taking place each day, so they took for granted their cheese over there. They were unprepared for what they found. What? No cheese? Ham yelled. He continued yelling. No cheese? No cheese? As though if you shouted louder enough, someone would put it back. Who moved my cheese? He hollered. Finally, his paws on his face turned red, and he screamed at the top of his voice, "It's not fair!"